Yo, what's up, all you burners, stoners, and potheads, and especially all you gardeners out there? This is Mr. Weedman and Big Earl with the Grow Hour. Big Earl, my brother, how the hell are you?
What's up, man? I'm doing good. How are you?
Super stoked. You want to know why?
Why?
Because we have our friend Tarantula Genetics here, and we're going to be talking about today. Keep it simple, silly. How you doing, Tarantula?
Doing good.
Great to have you on, my friend. Great to have you on. And we're super stoked. And I am super stoked that Big Earl got you here because I got to grow one of your strains. And we're going to be smoking that in a minute. But before we get started, Tarantula, tell us what you're smoking.
I am smoking some Spinning Hill Kick with a little bit of Spinning Hill Kick rosin in it.
Nice. Is that your grow?
Yeah, it's my grow, my strain. It's a cross of Designer Runs times Liver Kick.
All right. I love it. Big Earl, what are you smoking on, my friend?
I rolled up the Stinky Fat Bulldog. It's like a sour, very diesel, very sour. And a
So
peanut
nice.
breath. Nice, creamy funk.
Well, I love them both. And I am smoking, in honor of Tarantula, I am smoking Strawberry Kush Breath, which I've saved for, I saved 2 big nugs. I've had them for a hot minute now, but I'm so glad that we have you on. Tell us a little about this grow that I got from you and I got to smoke today. Tell us a little bit about it, Tarantula.
You talk about the Strawberry Kush Breath?
Yes, sir.
So Strawberry Kush Breath is a strain that I made from Platinum Kush Breath times strawberries and cream. Probably about 5 years ago, 4 to 5 years ago now. She's a more heavier indica style high. Has really nice coffee notes to her. Super impressed with the way that she's always grown, man. Nice color, nice structure. Ended up making a whole line out of her.
Love it. Hey, I will tell you this about the Strawberry Kush Breath is that I've given this out to a lot of people. It was a phenomenal grow, terpy as hell. The bud structure was amazing, and the terpenes and the trichomes were just all over these ladies. I grew 2 of them, so I got 2 out of them, the 5 that I planted, and it was just phenomenal, man. I just love it. So thank you, in honor of you, Strawberry Kush Breath, and I'm super stoked. So Tarantula, tell us a little bit about yourself. How'd you get the name? Because I love it.
So I got the name from back when I was an MMA fighter. That was my nickname, the Tarantula.
Hell yeah.
That was one of my big passions of life, man. And then I transitioned into weed in the middle of that journey. And that's what I wanted to bring in was my passions, man. I'm a really passionate person about anything that I do. I grind down and get right to it. So
how'd you start growing?
I actually started back in 2010. My friend was growing already, and I ended up getting a tent and just starting it. You know, back then I was pretty new to Michigan, 2008. Literally took a job at a grocery store, and it just became my whole life.
So how did you start making seeds?
I started breeding for myself like 2013-ish. I just got really sick of taking clones from other people. I haven't touched a clone in probably like 12 years from other people. I got really sick of getting problems from people and stuff like that. So I wanted to save a genetic that I had, which was a lemon diesel. And I crossed that to a sour grape that I had, which made a pink lemonade. And that was my first time I fell in love with it, man. The characteristics I was able to find off the seeds I was able to pop for myself wasn't like what you were able to get overseas at the time.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's fun finding mom and dad. And then when you get down deeper, when you go to F2s with stuff, you can find the grandparents and stuff. It's dope.
Yep. So when did you know this plant, this wonderful plant that was given to us by the earth itself? When did you know this plant was for you?
I've been smoking weed since I was 14 years old, so not really promoting it like that, but it's always been I was ADHD and I was always on Adderall, being prescribed things I could never focus, and I was able to get off of Adderall with weed. So
hell yeah.
That's dope.
What was your preferred method though? You're a joint guy, bong, dabs. What do you like?
I'm a joint guy all day, man.
Hell yeah. That's what I'm talking about right there. What's up, King? So outside of now we know you're a passionate person. We know you're passionate when it comes to the plant. And we know you were passionate about MMA. What are some of your other passions in life?
MMA is like my biggest thing. I got 2 kids. I take care of the family. You know, that's my main thing, making sure that they're growing up with a healthy, happy life that isn't, you know, filled with a bunch of drama or anything crazy going on like I had to grow up with. So just keeping everything right for the family. And, you know, I still go to the gym periodically and train. And before I moved out here to Flint, I was actually running a gym and, you know, competing fighters and stuff were going out, but had to let that go in order to chase the dream to come build this legal grow out here in Flint.
Nice. Are you a caregiver?
I am a caregiver as of right now. I've been on a 4-year journey to set up this rec building. It's been nothing
Okay.
but hoops and hurdles, but we're getting through our finals right now. So super good to see, like something that you can
Nice.
strive for and keep going, you know?
Oh yeah, dude. Congrats.
What's the one thing you would tell somebody, since you're such dude, I'm all about passion, so I get it. What is the one thing you would tell a new breeder or grower to do, like specifically to keep, since we're trying to keep this as simple as possible? What's like it's like you got to have passion in the plant. I know that, but what's the one thing you would tell them to do, like the one word that would make them like just be like, fuck yeah, I'm going after this?
I mean, one of the biggest things I would say for a beginner grower is to keep it simple. Make sure you follow the nutrient line that you're looking to grab. It doesn't really matter which one you get. Depending on soil, cocoa, or whatnot, you just follow, you know, the recipe for. If it's cocoa, make sure it never dries out. If it's soil, just keep watering when it's time to water it. Don't change too much. After your first grow, you're not a master. That's one of the biggest things I see from a lot of people. Their first grow goes successful because they are so cautious, and all of a sudden they want to throw in everything and anything they can find online, and then they don't know why their stuff ain't right. If you're going to add something, only add something one at a time, man. Document what's happening, pay attention to the differences that it's making, and see if it's something you want to continue to do or if it's something that caused something to happen. You know, understanding what your norm is, I guess I would say.
Hell yeah.
100%. Happy anniversary, by the way, man. I know you'd mentioned taking care of your family is number one. You said the other day is your guys' anniversary. Hopefully, it was awesome.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you, man. Yep, that's correct. 17 years.
Nice.
Goddamn.
So, like I said, today we're talking about keeping it simple, and Big Earl, is coming up with some great questions, and I'm gonna let these are in his wheelhouse. So I always let Earl, when he has good questions. This is like, I love it. So Earl, take it away, my friend.
Yeah, keeping it simple, silly. No, I think that's great. We talk about a ton of stuff on this show, and some stuff isn't so simple. You know, when you start getting into it, you go, well, you need VPD and you got to measure your runoff and synthganic and you got to break this down. You don't have to break this down. That can flush out. You don't need to flush this out. Don't add this after this day. pH it to this on this day. I mean, it gets like fucking complicated, but you can grow some pretty damn good weed being very simple. There's a lot of stuff out there that makes things very simple, very easy, and you might like this strain better tweaked that way or this way, but that's not simple. We're going after the simple. It's going to help, I think, especially that first gardener. You don't, first time, second time, 10th time, somebody that doesn't want to put a ton of time into things. So what about with a build out? We can start with a build out. Is there something simple you think during the build out, or something you see some people complicate in their build out where you're like, man, why do you need to add 16 6-inch fans? You could just put a 16-inch fan on that opposite wall.
So yeah, one of the biggest things I see people overdo is like, I mean, I still have yet to ever use a humidifier. I don't understand how you need to add water to a room that you're already watering. You know, um, one thing I think people do is they kind of overcrowd a light, and what they need to understand is the size pot that you're in distinguishes how much plant should be under a light. Because if your plant can't eat or uptake the nutrients you're feeding, but once every 3 to 4 days, because you got 6 plants under 600 watts, because it's in 10-gallon pots, they should have been 6 plants in 5-gallon pots so they could eat more often. And the water in your rooms being more adequate in the first place, because most of the water you ever feed, 60-70%, is going back into your humidity of your room. And that's why you have to have dehumidifiers. But back to what I was saying about the plants is, if you have one big plant and it's in a 20-gallon pot, it's still eating just as much as it would have out of 6 5-gallon pots. It just takes longer to veg. So a lot of people don't realize that that's an actual equation of having a nice even amount of plant flow and nice even amount of plants. I mean, most of every one of my rooms has anywhere from 15 to 20 different strains in the room while it's flowering. And the way I like to deal with that is all the lights stay the same height, And if the plant's shorter than the other plant because of genetics, I raise it on buckets or something so that's even canopy, but it's not overcrowded to where the plants are no longer eating. I know that room normally would eat 50 gallons a day, rather it's 12 big plants or rather it's 30, 40 smaller plants. But that should be the average that is eating per day in my cocoa. So that comes down to an equation when you're thinking about it, not to have too many plants inside of a room. It's not going to equate into bigger yields. It's going to actually equate into having more of a smaller bud structure.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude, that's interesting as hell. I didn't think about that, but like I have a small tent, so I have and this is good for somebody like myself, a newbie-ish grower, and having a small tent. But I only grow 2 plants in this tent because I know how big 2 plants can get in this 2x4 by 5 by 6 tent, And I tried 4 one time, and it was so overcrowded. It was bad. And then I did one where it was a 3 in the tent, and it was still too much. So I do a 5-gallon pot or a 3-gallon pot, 5-gallon cloth if I'm doing auto fems, or I do a 3-gallon pot if I'm fucking adding if I'm just doing photos, because I've gotten some good yield on a 3-gallon pot. But I've seen the difference in what you're saying, because I don't have huge lights and the greatest lights in the world, and I've seen exactly what you're talking about. That's interesting as hell. I never knew that. Thank you.
No, that also goes back down to watts too. Your watts will make up for that circumference of square footage that you're using for the amount of air to water ratio, which is your humidity that should be coming out of your pots, which is your average amount of feeding.
Yeah. So what I run into, and this isn't necessarily keeping it simple, but I go after very small pots and super aggressive, often feedings. And sometimes I do see benefits in going a little bit bigger with my pots, but I do that for a couple reasons. But with that, I find that I do need, when it's cold out, I need a humidifier, or my room drops during the day. It'll be down to like 30%. Like it'll just be like bottomed out, like 20-30% too low. So I have to get a humidifier, or it fucks things up. But I think you're right. I think people will read something like that or hear a comment like somebody like me say something like that. And if you're starting in a tent, like even having really low humidity like that, you can grow some really great plants. I like to change my room gets a little warmer. I like to have mine a little higher. I like change mine around a little bit. So with plant progression, something I've noticed is I see a lot of people doing like 4 transplants. They'll go out, they'll pop a seed in a paper towel, go to a cube, go from a cube to a solo cup to a 1 gallon, 1 gallon to 5 gallon. Do you have any advice on like plant progression, maybe handling the canopy, um, anything that way on keeping things a little bit more
Well, I
stable?
will say that unless the seed's old and it needs help germinating, a bird's supposed to be able to eat that and poop it out somewhere, and it should pop out on its own. I put it straight in the dirt, solo cup size. That way I can maintain it and keep its size, because it starts to get wobbly and stuff because it's, just shooting out of silos. But other than that, the transplants, I try to keep them to a minimum. I do believe in a base. There is a point to making a base. So after my solo cup, I go to 3 gallons and I let that really root up good before I take it to its 5, because I found with higher yielding plants that they can actually start to cave in at that area if it didn't build that root base that's the size of a 3 gallon or so. So I am pretty big believer in, you do got to at least build some type of tight root zone, because if you just go into a 10-gallon pot straight off a rip, it's going to have more sparse roots on the outside and your inside can crater.
That makes perfect sense. Do you have to? Let me ask a question. So I don't know if I do this right or wrong. I don't know. I've gotten good grows out of everything I've done. So, but I go from paper cloth to solo to my next the grow the pot I'm gonna be done with. I don't go from but I've seen people go, like you said, some people go from solo 1 gallon, 3 gallon, 10 gallon, or whatever. I go from solo right to, if I'm going to be going in a 3 gallon or 5 gallon, I'm done.
You definitely can. I mean, sometimes my plants are pulling 2 pounds a plant, so them ones I really want to make sure if they're going to get inside of a 10-gallon pot to really go fill up a room, I'm making sure they see a 3 before they see that 10, just because, like I said, the center, some stalks that keep this wide on it.
Yeah, I'm not growing in a 10. So that's what I'm thinking. Like, I don't need to
So
do
when
that.
you're in
And
smaller things like that, you can go, like you said, you're finishing in a 3. I go to a solo to a 3 every time I transplant. So
okay. And then sometimes I go to a 5 claw. It depends on what I'm growing, but I've gotten good yields just on a 3-gallon pot with using minimal salts too. And but now that I'm doing organic and I have to layer, I top dress I went to a 5-gallon cloth. But before when I was using salts a lot, I was 3-gallon and it was perfect for that tent. Now I have to go to 5 and it's still a good size, but I couldn't fit 10 gallons. It'd be too tight, too tight in there.
It might be too much dirt for your tent too.
Yeah.
Might be
I'm just trying to give different options for different home growers that are starting off. If they're starting off in a tent my size or a 4x4, we have to, remember not everybody has a beautiful grow area like you and Earl,
Yeah.
So I'm thinking of the simplest, like I have a little basement grow. That's where I could fit it in this house, so it was like, this worked out perfect for me. So I'm looking at the people that are 2x4s, 4x4s, 3 by whatever the other size is that you normally see in little basement grows now. So so opportunity, would that be okay to go from a solo to a 3 or a solo to a 5?
100%.
Would it hurt?
No, it would definitely not hurt.
I go from cubes to a 2 usually. I skip the solo. The only time I go into solo is if somebody else is possibly going to grab the plant. If I'm gonna give it to somebody, I'll go to solo. But other than that, it's like I'm not even fucking around. I want to stick my fucking fingers in the medium, give it a little wiggle, throw my cube in there, and be fucking done with
it. You give it a little tickle.
Yeah,
give a little tickle.
A little Mico.
We're gonna get a shirt made saying the Earl tickle with a little finger.
Tickle that dirt a little bit, you'll be okay.
Oh shit! So let me ask you, food and watering. What's the most to the point, easiest way to manage your water and media?
I always recommend a pH tester of some sort. pH is very important in anything that you're using with nutrients. But I always try to say it ain't always about the best of nutrient companies. So many people believe the better the nutrient company, the better the product is. You can get great products off some General Hydroponics. It's like one of the cheaper brands you can get. I've seen Fox Farm do good for people.
That's what I used. My first 4 grows were Fox Farm. The thing about them, you got to learn, less is better. Use way less than what they fucking instruct, and their soils are hot. You don't even need to add nutrients for like a hot minute. Just if you do that, and I've never had a problem with the people who make fun of them. Oh, they're caca, whatever. I have had good production and good yield and good smoke with using Fox Farm and other stuff too I've used, and now I use Earl's taught me some stuff and some other people we have on. But saying what you're saying is so correct. Whatever you use, just go a little less on stuff, right?
100%. Less is more, and it took me 3 to 4 years to realize that. Man, I'm just buying any nutrient company I can to chuck this in here. And after I started learning and understanding, and the nutrient reps would come into the store and teach me so much, and I'd be realizing that half the stuff you don't need. You really just need your basic NPK and your micronutrients. And other than that'll grow a plant by itself with good genetics. I like to tell everyone, if you want good weed, genetics is first, environment is second, almost as equal, because you can't go put good genetics in crap environments and expect good results. Not going to happen. So they're almost equal. You can't put trash genetics in good environments and expect it's going to be cool neither. So good genetics, environment, and then third goes whatever nutrient you decided to use, whether it's organics or whatever, not having mistakes where like you go in there and you leave a light on all day for 3 days and stuff like that is like the hardest thing to do. Overlooking at your plants seemed to be like something I did a lot in the beginning, and it caused problems, being in there in the dark, doing stuff that I shouldn't just be doing because I'm just obsessed with it, Patience. No reason to cut it down.
That is so good, because I remember like Earl teaching me in the beginning, and other growers teaching me in the beginning, like genetics is like your key. And I know I fucked up on some grows, and the genetics is what made that plant what it came out to be. Earl, I know there's probably hundreds of people I could say that, but you've taught me well. Genetics is so fucking clutch, and who you're buying your genetics from. And like we say, reputable breeders that when you ask them questions on their Instagram or wherever you reach out to them, you email them and they get back to you too, is clutch. Would you say that too, Tarantula?
100%, man. I'm there to answer questions, whether it's my genetics or not. I'm just here to help, and I enjoy helping people. I help people wherever I can. Um, it's the way people should be, dude. It's a community of love. I don't understand why like a lot of people get so big and they don't talk to anybody. Everything's negative.
Right. I appreciate that. I appreciate that.
I've said it before, probably. I'm sure I'll say it again, but genetics is your potential. You have your 100% potential. And whether that 100% potential is, first grade or fucking college master's level, that's the breeder or the cross or what's in those genetics. But then it's up to you to not fuck it up. And if we can get through this at 90, even if you can get through this at 90%, you're going to have if you have great genetics and you get through at 90%, you make 10% mistakes, you're going to be doing a pretty fucking good job. Like, you're going to like what comes out of it.
Yeah, you follow that nutrient company schedule. You have your lights on, a real timer, and you're probably good to go.
Yeah,
ain't much.
sure.
Make sure your humidity and stuff's in control, and you got fan movement. You should be good.
And water correctly. If you're not in cocoa, make sure you're getting dry back on that bitch.
I'm not a good grower at all. I've been doing it for a minute now, but I love going into that tent and watching that tent and watching those plants in that tent like just do its thing.
Yeah.
I'm not good at it. I know where Earl just says 10%, I probably fuck up most of the time. So I'm a 90. I'm an A- kind of guy. I'll take that all day long.
Oh,
and but I always said I just want to grow good smokable weed. I'm not ever going to be the best. I don't want to be the best. I don't want to have the I just want good weed that people can enjoy when they smoke it with me, or if I'm giving it away, or if I'm with Mrs. Weedman, or someone comes over and it's just good. Man, that's good weed. It got me high. That's what I want to hear. Oh, it smells good. That means I know your nose likes it. So that helps, So that's what I think a lot of us new growers, people buying equipment, people listening to not just this show, but other podcasts about growing and breeding, don't give up on that first 5 grows. You're going to get good weed. And don't go into it going, oh my God, no, look at it this way. What we just said in the first part of the show, just learn, enjoy the process, get good genetics, and enjoy smoking your good weed.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Or I'll let you take over.
No, you're right. You're 100% right. That's 100%. So have fun. That's what it's all about in the first place. You can tell. One of the most important things, especially if you go to a big garden. If you get a chance to visit a big garden and you go in there and everybody's fucking sad, that's not how it's supposed to be. If you go to a garden, people are supposed to love what the fuck you're doing. You're working with a plant that you love and you believe in. You're around things that are like should be new and different almost constantly. Like it should be like Willy Wonka land, not like fucking Matilda's school. Or, that shit should be nice. So, but
I don't want to be locked in that closet, Earl. Come on, man.
Hey, I'm just saying, you can tell a lot. The vibe of a garden is huge. We've talked about that. The vibe of a garden to me is that's because if everybody's having a great time and doing all that shit, you probably don't have huge bug problems, which means you're probably on your shit. Your plants are probably growing pretty good, which means you're probably on your it's just like things are probably going pretty well. But I don't know. That's off topic. But what about keeping the harvest and then like the dry simple? Any hacks for that?
Yeah, man, I keep that as simple as can be. I mean, that stuff gets crazy reading that stuff online. My best technique is dry trim. Okay, it's got to be dry trim. That's the first off. So when I cut it down and I hang it from a ceiling with a green string and it's hanging downwards, and I tag it for whatever it is. I try not to overcrowd it. I get one fan that points to the ground and just blows at the ground and kind of moves air around. And then I put a dehumidifier in that room and set it to about 55 for 3 days. Then I go to 60 for about another 7 to 10 days. So anywhere from 10 to 14 days. Once I can finally take a bud and snap it, not pull it off of a branch. The bud shouldn't be crackling. Even if the outside feels like it's dusty, that's just the leaves. That's the fan leaves that you didn't cut off. So a lot of people feel that after I tell this to them, and they're like, "Oh man, I pulled it off," and then they're like, "It smells like hay now." I'm like, "Yeah, it's wet still. You can't break it up with your hands. So when you snap it, you want to do the trimming session. Then you put them in your bags or jars, and I do about a 2-day burp because at that point it's about 14-15% humidity in the bud. I do about a 2-day burp session to get it down to about 12. And then at that point, it's good. It's ready to go. Top peak,
Yeah, 100. For sure. That's almost exactly what I do. I have little dry tents. We've talked about 100 times, but
Yeah, I got the rooms that are just for drying, so I
yeah,
just throw the
beautiful.
dehu inside there and move
Yeah,
it.
beautiful, man. What about extraction? What what do you see people doing with extraction that's too extravagant? What are some tips there?
I mean, I only do rosin. I never really dibbled too hard into the other extraction ways. I wasn't really down with the butanes in my garages and stuff,
Yeah,
especially because most of my gardens were garages back in the day. So I still do rosin to this day. It is pretty simple, but it is a thing about quality. Quality in, quality out for it. You can't go in there with trim and make it or anything like that.
yeah,
But you can make hash from the trim, then press it.
for
Do you
sure.
press? Do you press your own?
Yeah.
Nice.
We've had Wolfman on. We have a whole episode on. He teaches how to like pack the bag properly and like to get the best the biggest yield out of it and stuff. And he does cured flower rosin, and man, it's so fucking good.
So good.
No, wait, hold on. He does it turn to hash first, or is he pressing the bud?
Just the bud. He just takes. I know you're talking about like the bubble hash, right? A nice bubble
And
hash.
he does that too.
Yeah,
But
he'll do the bubble hash sometimes. I
yeah.
think. Yeah.
Yeah, but he did a full we did a 3-show episode with him. We did one, the history of hash. Two, him and Earl at his place did we did a session where we filmed him doing a press, a fresh press, and then we did a roundtable discussion with him and Terp Fiend about hash and different
Nice.
questions we had for them. Yeah, it was pretty cool. So.
Yeah.
But that's cool that you. What is your preferred? What do you smoke joints? But and you.
I put the wax right inside the joint.
Yeah.
I don't like the dab.
You make a nice little donut.
Yeah, this one actually
Yeah.
has some of it in there.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's big right now, man. There's some fucking people rolling some fucking major hash holes donuts, man, out there in this world right now. It's incredible what you could smoke. I don't like doing those out in public though. I gotta be home because those things hit me like a fucking loop-de-loop, So I don't like doing those out in public. I did a show, our 420 show, at a place called Made Gallery here in Chicago, and we just got there. I wasn't even high yet. I hadn't eaten yet. Hadn't even really drank. I had my coffee and that was it. And we were ready to record. And the owner who I interviewed pulled out a fucking donut and it fucked me up. So I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a long. And we had to record 5 different interviews. I was fucking high as fuck, man. I'm like, dude, this is a great way to start with a donut in the morning. I love them, man. And that's it. You roll them yourself, though, I presume, right?
Yeah.
Do you put a nice little filter in there yourself too? Do you make them yourself?
I'm not a filter user.
You're straight up, man. You're straight homie OG right there. That's great.
So one last thing, or one last question, I guess. Is there anything you think we missed? Is there anything you see in the garden that people are overcomplicating? Anything we didn't go over?
Yeah, man. I think my biggest thing, I'll go back to, kind of barely touched on it earlier, and then I got sidetracked, is understanding what your equipment's actually doing, and lights and how they work. Outside, Christmas trees are great formations for plants because the way the sun moves. That is not how your light moves. So, doing with that, you want your plants to be as even, as flat as they can be. And if you got multiple plants and they're not even, like I said, lift one up so that it is even. That way, everybody gives you an equal yield. That's just the best way to get your better yields out of the situation, I guess.
I appreciate you keeping it simple with us, but let's get back to you. And what was the first strain you were working with?
My first strain, I actually made something. One was Lemon Diesel. My first strain I ever grew was Cataract OG.
Oh, that sounds interesting.
Cadillac or Cataract?
Cataract. Yeah.
So where did things go from like from there after you got your first little taste, and then what was some of the best things and favorite things you ever created? Like I said, I'm honored right now. I get to smoke the fucking Strawberry Kush Breath. So, I mean, I haven't gotten anything else from you yet, but I will tell you this. I mean, I still got a couple seeds left, so I'm excited about growing that one again.
So I think my 2 favorite strains are Platinum Monkey Mint Punch and Liver Kick. But Liver Kick's a cross of Platinum Monkey Mint Punch and Strawberry Kush Breath. So
The liver kick. Did you make that after fucking MMA? Because kicking somebody in the liver.
Yeah, I made a whole violent series from it.
I guess that was a down and outer, like a fucking not couch locked.
Yeah, you just out.
Oh, that sounds delicious. What was the flavors on that?
Rubber. It had like yeah. It's really weird sounding, man.
Oh shit!
I never even thought about that as a name. I thought it was maybe had a meaty flavor. There's some different meats out there, and I was like, liver kick. I was like, it's probably kicks you in the ass. I bet it has like a meaty flavor.
I didn't even think about liver.
No,
I just thought about like
it smelled straight up like a new sneaker.
Yeah. Oh jeez, that's fucking crazy.
It smells amazing.
What was the last line you put out? Tell us about it.
So our last line was actually some BXs we made from the Platinum Mint Punch that we used the original time. We brought some of the older strains back that people were missing, like the Knockout Punch, the Rombo, as BXs for them, you know. Came out beautiful. They're all hash making strains. They just ooze hash everywhere. So
nice.
Yeah.
Is that what you're leaning towards now? Growing breeds more for hash or both?
I like high yields and hash plants, but they also got to be low trim. You know, being in facilities my size, I don't like to trim that stuff neither. So like when I start to breed and selective hunt, every one of them buds got to be like super low trim, 2 bud ratios. That's what I like to breed with.
Nice.
Flower
Thank
to
you.
leaf ratio is something that I feel like a lot of people overlook. Because if it can take, I mean, you can take 75% of your freaking uptake away if you just have a nice flower to leaf ratio.
Oh yeah, and they always end up being higher yields like that too.
Yeah,
and you just have like really low trim. You know,
I noticed that on the Strawberry Kush Breath. There wasn't a lot of leaf. There was a lot of. Now I will tell you this: I got a lot of sugar leaf though, which I don't mind. But I didn't get a lot of big leaves coming out of the buds and stuff like that. That was nice about that. It wasn't a lot of trim going on, but I did get some really nice sugar leaves.
Yeah, I think the Kush Breath and the strawberries and cream line that came from definitely brought more leaves to the table, and that's why I bred the things together to get them to come out with the liver kick line that I made from it, and everything that came out of that was stupid low.
Nice
ratio.
Yeah, but I will tell you this: the fucking sugar leaves were. I love sugar leaves, so I mean, I use that in a lot of stuff, and especially baking and cooking. And I'll fucking throw some sugar leaves in my fucking bowl, and if it's on there, I'm not gonna. If they're pretty looking, some of them stay on, you know. So I mean, it was impressive, man, how those fucking sugar leaves looked on that Strawberry Kush. What do you got coming down the line?
Right now, we're in the middle of testing out some Max Stomper reg lines that I just made and used. So that's in the middle of testing. And then we're in the middle of making some Greasy Breath crosses with a male that we hunted out. So the Greasy Breath is the Greasy Runs times Strawberry Kush Breath that came from the Strawberry Kush Breath line. And I hunted out a fire male from that because the females were just awesome. So I went through and got me a fire male. I'm making a line with that right now.
What? So basically, you got a nice male. So any other males you're going through right now, and then any? Are you doing any femmes or all femmes or?
So the last line I was just talking about, the Max Stomper, was a male that we hunted out and used. For it. So we're just in the middle of testing that out, making sure everything's going smooth with it. So
fem lines or anything coming out?
Not yet. Our last 2 lines were fem lines. I'm trying to get more regs into the stable again to be able to get a stabilized female that I'm looking to pass the genetics onto. Like I said, I've kind of narrowed down how my buds need to look. Now I just got to get a certain terp profile that I'm looking to add to all these too. So I'm trying to narrow that into, you know, I house over 42 strains right now that are all the keepers I've hunted in the last 5-6 years.
Damn, I was about to ask you how long did that take? How many you have to go through?
I mean, yearly, I just did an actual math adding. Yearly, I go through about 1,000 seeds out of the one testing room, and it's an 8 light room that I run it through. So that's what I was trying to explain, like more about how I like to grow, because in that room I'm running almost 100 plants, but they're in more of 3-gallon pots, and they're all in buckets from Home Depot. It's crazy how I do it. So like some are taller, some are not, just because they're different strains, different phenos. And then by the time of week 4, after I make sure nobody's hermed or had any issues, I throw the trellis on them all. And, you know, they all do pretty good inside there. So I get to really see how they're growing and what they're doing, what the characteristics bring from a group of seeds, as opposed to something that's not, you know, prevalent, where it's like 1 out of the 20 seeds that I popped only showed us a thing that I like. That's not something I kind of like to breed with. I like to breed with something I like that everybody just keeps showing, because it shows that it's more of a prevalent phenotypical expression. So that's kind of how I hunt my strains out, is to show more of the dominance. You know, you should be able to kind of backtrack to at least appearance zones of what characteristics are showing strong from that, and what's the most common of them of showing that, you know. So that's kind of how I base all my pairings and do what I do to get, you know, results that I get off of these. So
Yeah. I hunted through a pack of Strawberry Kush Breath. They were super good, and I ended up crossing the female. I know I got a hold of you about it, but my phone, like, we went back and forth and went over, like, my phone wasn't sending them, or some our phones were all fucked up. But it was super fire, man. I got a lot of strawberry. I didn't get a lot of. I got like a sweet berry out of it mostly, and it was super dominant in the cross. The terp was.
yep.
And I hunted out through, I call them stanky Kush breaths.
So
I crossed
good.
it to a stanky haze, a big, like, piney funk haze.
That sounds fire, man.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting. It's good. But
I've served that to a lot of people here, Big Earl. The Stinky Kush Breath, all the stanky lines you've done. And I mean, people have loved all of those that you've given me.
There's different. It's just a different, it's just a different. But yeah, and the yeah, I love that plant. I should have never gotten rid of that plant, honestly. I hate those, dude. I've been doing tissue culture. We haven't been able to talk for a little bit, but I've been doing tissue culture for a little bit, and that's been like the best thing, is being able to be like, oh, maybe we'll just put this plant over here to the side for a second in a tub.
I gotta get into that, man.
Dude,
I'm like chilling with 42 of these motherfuckers right now. I'm like, all right,
yeah, what are you gonna do?
Top you guys too.
It's got its whole other set of problems, but it's definitely worth it. I mean, it's dope. It's dope. But so any other, like, the nice leaf to bud ratio I know you're looking for, and you're bringing the flavors back in. What's something else you look for? Anything else different in your selections? Obviously, like strength and how they grow in your garden and everything, but I don't know. Everybody has their little secrets.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, one of my biggest things too that I also look for is the bud density, man. I just don't like the airier buds, the bigger ones. You're more prone to getting bud rot in them than you are the buds that are mediocrely dense and got a nice, tip to them.
Yeah.
I don't like them too dense, where they're like them rocks like the OGs, where you get bud rot just from it being too dense. But I like that in between structure, man. So that's like one of the biggest things I need.
Yeah. Then you don't want the quarter to be a pinky bag. Like, what the fuck? This is a quarter? Yeah, they're little rocks.
Bro, in my hunts recently, because this whole year I've been hunting other people's gear, I've only been able to find 12 keepers out of 7 runs now. And we're talking about close to 1,000 seeds from other people. It's hard to run these things and find what you're really looking for. I mean, I grew some, I thought I wanted to go find Afghan. Man, this stuff looked like I never grew weed in my life. Next to weed that looked great. I mean, I'm just like, oh my God, I got 12 of these in this room. This kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And it's just, like, damn.
Do they herm on you too? They herm? They don't like.
No, they didn't herm. They just were straight. I mean, when I say old school looking weed, this is looked like in a room that grows fire. Fire was chilling next to it from other strains. I mean, it was just horrible, bro.
Yeah,
then I went
some of those. They're fun.
Yeah, man, it's not what I'm looking to go, use from the moment. So I was like, man, that sucks. They didn't even have the Afghan smell and stuff, man. They just weren't good. So, I mean, every once in a while you get bit, I fortunately am good enough to find herms. If anybody's got herms or something like that in my room, they get out before I could even have a problem from them,
Yeah.
So I've never really had an issue of like ever having herms or seed issues like that. But trash weed's a thing, man. Sometimes you grow some stuff and it doesn't matter where you stick it.
You give that look like, ooh, why?
When you're hunting seeds, especially, dude, even when you're hunting like fantastic seeds, they're not all winners. You get some weird shit in there.
100%, man. Like I said, out of about 1,000, I found about 12 keepers, man. And I'm like,
how long did it take? How long did it take to do 1,000 seeds?
so like I said, I do about 100 each run, so about a year and a half out of that room. I do it every 8 weeks. It comes down, so it's about 5.
Was that a low yield for you? Only get 12 keepers?
No, not really. It's hard to keep up with a bunch of.
You're looking for something truly specific in your selection, then.
Yes, man. I mean, right now, like I said, I was after a certain funk that I'm trying to bring into my line.
Now, do you go all the way to flower with your selection, or do you go?
Oh yeah, I go all the way through. It goes through and it stays in a little clone cup with a number on it until it's fucking done, and then I decide who needs to get killed, chopped. Looked at the notes that I made throughout the flower cycle.
Do you smoke a lot of the flower just to see if it had the right smell and taste you wanted when you were?
Yeah, oh yeah, we smoke a lot.
1,000 plants. How much you fucking got to smoke to reach that 12, the finale of 12?
Yeah, we smoke a lot.
I mean, do you do the little round robin thing? Like, okay, here's X number J33, XJ number 44. Now 44 is done. 33.
Between me and like my worker help and my girl, we all just sit there and just blaze out for 3-4 days straight. And I kind of just go through the check off book, because after I like to make all the notes, I kind of go through and give it summaries. And then I go with my summaries that I take with me. And that's kind of where I go and write smoke and, turd profile that I can go back to its grow log and kind of see what it grew like too. Because that can make a big difference. I'm like, man, you fired, but man, oh man, I don't want to grow that plant again. That plant was horrible.
Yeah.
Some plants grow real weird.
Yeah, this is I never really. We've had talks about this before, but never really got into deep. So I'd love hearing. Like, I've never heard. Like, I know people plant a lot of seeds to get what they find, but 1,000's a lot. That's a lot.
Well, I mean, it's 100 at a time. So like, this
I know.
Last year or so, year and a half.
So 100 at a time, right? So you grow 100. Now these could be male or female. You got to throw the males away, or do you keep any males that you like?
I mean, sometimes I keep the males, man, and I'll just kind of put them in what I like to call purgatory. Just because, like, I only got one spot that I breed at. I got a spot where I do all my testing and hunting at, and then I got a spot where I do breeding at, and then I got a spot where I just grow the stuff, because you got to keep growing it. So it's all separate spots, but the damn, I got high and forgot what we're talking about.
That's all right. We were talking about like the breeding selection and like 1,000 plants and your selection.
So I mean, when I got the 100 in there, it's just growing, and then in the next room I've already got my plants getting ready to go back in there when they finish.
So out of that 100, how many females do you normally, like, just a range? How many females do you normally get?
Anywhere from 60 to 80, depending on how many femmes are in the stuff that I'm running and regs.
How many go to flower?
Anywhere from 60 to 80 to 100.
Damn, that's a lot of fucking weed to smoke and try. I love it. That's fucking awesome.
Yeah, we just put them on a system that we have with the halos.
Yeah.
And then you just pump them, man. Hit the button.
And you were saying that, like, you get sometimes, what, 1 pound or 2 pounds per plant?
Not out of that room, no. That's
okay.
my test room. Out of my main rooms where I'm growing things. Yeah. It depends on how big you're going. Sometimes they're in 10 gallons, and they'll definitely give me somewhere around 1.5 pounds, 2 pounds under a double ender.
Damn, that's a good fucking yield per plant. That's fucking nice. You're my guy right there. You're the guy I wish I knew back in the 90s when I was doing that kind of stuff. That'd be great. Yeah. Oh man. Anything else we missed you want to chat about? And then Earl, I'm sure Earl got something to ask you too. So anything else we missed that you want to run through on the keeping it simple, silly, or breeding, or anything you want to throw out there?
No, I think we touched base on pretty much everything like that.
Oh yeah. Hey, is there anywhere that has your seeds? I knew you had some fem lines and some reg lines. But do you sell out? Do you sell your lines out pretty quick, or you got some places sitting around with your seeds?
Sitting on them. I mean, the old lines, no, them are gone. Yeah. There is some stuff from the last 2 years. I'd say the seed seller still got some. Great Lake Genetics got some. Neptune Seed Banks got some.
Yeah.
Do you wish you still had some of those old packs left?
I do.
Do you do have them? Okay, I just want to make sure. I was like, all right.
I'm actually missing the platinum chimpanzee recently, and I wanted to hunt it. And I realized that I must have given someone that pack, so it's not there. So I ended up, popping its mother or its daughter that it made chimp breath from the Strawberry Kush Breath line, hunting out the chimpanzee line again.
How long ago did you make that?
The Platinum Chimpanzee was made like 5 years ago.
Nice. Anything older than that?
Yeah, the Rombo, the Permadream, the Jackson.
Damn. Hell yeah.
Pink
I have
Lemonade.
that. What's that strawberry? What else was in that Strawberry Kush Breath line? I think I have that whole line from you. That's whenever you were here around me.
Yeah. That one had a bunch of stuff in it. It had the Platinum Chimp times the Strawberry Kush Breath, the Burnt Toast by the Strawberry Kush Breath. It had the Strawberry Ice Cream type times the Strawberry Kush Breath. I think there were 6 or 7 strains there.
Yeah.
Damn, you did a lot of runs with that. That was maybe a phenomenal plant. I mean, that's cool. You got that many different. What was out of all those different runs? What was your favorite?
The liver kick.
Delivery. That's fucking awesome. You got is there any packs of that? Earl, I'd love you to grow some liver kick one day. Now I need to try it.
It is regs, and I do got some seeds left of it. I didn't sell it to the public, really. I mean, it was out there. I gave some out, but it wasn't part of the release. Neither was
do a little switchy switch. Give him a couple packs. You get a couple packs. I really need to try this liver breath, man. This
liver kick, it's just fire.
It's taking my breath away. Just fucking wants to fucking smoke it. I mean, because like I said, once you said the name, I kind of said, okay, MMA. 2, it sounds like it's a fucking couch fucking sleeper, lovely body high that just makes you want to
check out the whole line I made from that liver kick. It's got all cool names.
You ever get that one? You ever get that liver kick tested? Like what was
31%.
How much?
31%.
That's a heavy indica. Woo! But not only just the THC percentage, did you look at the terpene profiles on that?
No, I never sent it in for the terps.
No? Okay. Probably filled with a lot of myrcene if it's fucking knocking you on your ass like that. So that'd be interesting to know too, just to see what because it sounds like a fucking strain of that's like right up my alley.
Yeah. I mean, so it was like 5 or 6 years ago when you were coming into the shop I used to work at. And you had I think most of the stuff you brought in was testing. The machine we had only went up to 30%, but
yep,
it was all just very, very, very high THC tested.
That's nice, man. That's not easy to grow that without putting a bunch of stuff you don't want to put into it, like you see the big grows do. They're pumping that shit up to get that THC, and that's why fucking dust.
Shoot, I kept that basic.
The line that you use too is like the opposite of that. The line
is basic.
It's like little liter bottles. Like it's like the easiest fucking. It's a nice. What Aptus, right? Is it cool to shout them out?
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I actually been using Aptus lately, and I will say, out of all the years, my stuff has never smelled this good while growing. Just oozing and sticky touch. I used to just run Canna A and B with Facilitor, and then CalMag, and then Floralicious Plus, and then any PK booster during the end when it needs PK. So it was just real basic, you know.
Nice. No, that was. I ran their line a couple times. I liked how small it was, very low dosage, very compact. And they have a few products that can stand alone too. They have like their base nutrients and stuff, of course.
For sure.
Other unique products in their line.
Well, what I liked about them recently is after the first time of trying it was cool, following their schedule. But I've been able to tweak it some now, and that I've liked to do. Like the fact that they have just one with potassium and no phosphorus in it, and a liquid with phosphorus with no potassium in it, is allowing me to tweak that PK leak, and I've really been enjoying doing it.
Yeah. Or is that potassium at the end and at the beginning and shit?
Yep.
Yeah.
Nice. Where can we find you? Tags, anything we need, any Instagram, any social media, website, anything we got? Let people know.
The tags on Instagram is Tarantula Genetics. The tags on Facebook is Tarantula Genetics. And
pretty simple.
I don't really got a website.
No website?
I got a clothing website, but the seeds are all sold either from the websites of like Neptune or them, or if you get on the Instagram or Facebook, there's ways you can get in contact with me.
Okay. Discord or anything?
No, I haven't
No
figured
Discord?
out Discord.
It's all right. Just asking because everybody always asks me. So I just wanted to make sure. So, but Tarantula, man, we appreciate having coming back on again maybe soon because we do this a couple times with breeders. We ask you to come back on. We hope to have you back on. We appreciate you
That'd be
taking the
amazing,
time.
man.
Yeah, we appreciate you taking the time out, just discussing, keeping it simple, silly, and just talking about you and how you got your start. I mean, that liver cake sounds amazing to me. Earl, you got anything else to ask him before we go?
Well, there's one thing we didn't talk about, and it was one of the most simple thing to me. If you just wanted to kind of nix everything out and just put CalMag down with a nice base, CalMag, doesn't matter your medium, you know what I mean? Water it constantly, as much CalMag as you can get in there. You're gonna grow some pretty good fucking cannabis.
Oh, Big Earl Tarantula, we appreciate you. Come on, everyone out there in the world. Don't forget your CalMag. Peace.
Thank you.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a 9th decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.